Hey everyone, it's Bobbie. I have two things for you today. First, and you may already know about the homemade YouTube hop that Country Craft Creations is sponsoring. It will be August 21st and 22nd, and the designers that will all be chipping in and doing projects can be Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. All of the fall holidays will be included. What I received for this hop is Authentique's Magical Christmas, and I have already made my project for the hop, and it is really cute. So you'll want to be sure you check that out, and also make sure that you check out what all the other designers are creating. I've seen a few of them posted on the design team page, and they're really pretty. So you're going to have a really good time, and Tammy will be sponsoring a lot of games with prizes. Now it will be on YouTube, but you're going to have to be a member of Country Craft Creations to play the games and win the prizes. So be sure, if you're not already a member of Country Craft Creations, that you get over there and you request to join. Okay, so here is my project. This is using Magical Christmas by Authentique, and this is a folio in a folder. It's all self-contained. I used a bunch of dies in my stash. I have so much stuff, like I imagine most of you do, and so much of it I never use. So I thought, you know what, I'm dragging it out, I'm going to use it. So all of this front is dies, with the exception of the paper. That's all Authentique and the red artisan cardstock. There's no chipboard in this. I did use 4 magnets. I used 2 here on the cover, and there's 2 on the inside, and I'll show you where. These dies are, like I said, all from my stash, and I used those to decorate the front. I left the little spines plain red, and on the back it says "Believe in the Magic of Christmas," which is from the sticker sheet. And then these are all from my dies. Just says 2020, and I added some berries and greenery and a green snowflake. Snowflakes aren't green, but somehow I got one punched out, and I thought, what the heck, I'm putting it on there. So there you go. Alright, for this project, it opens on the right hand side, and then this is your binding here, and it opens this way. Hopefully, oh, I probably should have put that over a little farther, because it's gonna bend my, oh, darn it. I wanted this to open out flat, and it would if I hadn't put that poinsettia where I put it. I should have moved it over farther, but that's okay. It'll be fine. Bend it just a little bit. So we'll open that out flat, and it's plain right here. You could add an envelope, a policy envelope. You could add Tammy's lay flat pocket, whatever you might want to put there. I did not put anything on the inside. I just used the design paper. And then my little folio sits in this pocket. It's just like that. It makes a little pocket in here. Now I'll have to straighten that out. Next time I'll make sure my petals don't go over the fold. I wasn't even thinking about that. So here's the folio. I used one of the cut-aparts here, and again some of my dies. I can't think of the right word. Isn't that crazy when you can't come up with a word? Let me move this out of the way so I can move this over. On this flap I have a photo mat and a little tree that I used to dye from my stash, and then some of the enamel dots just to give it some color. In this pocket I have one of the cut-aparts, and I put it on white cardstock so that you can journal on the back or add a photo. And I had a little tiny punch that I made this banner with. And it opens this way. And we have a little pocket here with a photo mat. Oops. That's loose, so you can tuck something behind it, your photo. And then here we have a little tuck spot, a little journaling card. And it opens this way. We have 2 photo mats here and 1 here. And then it opens out this way. And we have 2 more photo spaces. This is from the sticker sheet. And these are little cut-aparts. So back here we have a little pocket And I've made a little photo mat. These little tabs were with the sticker sheet, and these are some of the small cut-aparts. On this side I made a little double pocket, and I show you in the tutorial, which follows this, how to put this little slit in here. And the top I just made a notch. And you can use these for bookmarks, photo mats, or journaling. I also, excuse me, also attached a white piece to the back so that you could journal, make all kinds of notes on there. And then I added a metal charm to it. And this one is open all the way to the bottom. And this one's the same, it has white with it. I have a little snowman on this one. That's a snowman too, I didn't realize that. So they just go in there. So then this closes up, and we flip it over to the back, and we have, oh, I forgot to tell you, this is one magnet right here. I told you I'd tell you where they were and I almost forgot. The second magnet is right in here. And it opens out like this. You have a little bookmark or a photo spot or journaling spot here. We have a large oval for photo mat. It says Season's Greetings. Then you have 3 photo mats in here, and we have a little pocket. And I have 2 of the cut-aparts, actually 3 of the cut-aparts. And I did not mat them because they have really pretty paper on the back, and you can mat them or not, whatever you wish to do. And this pocket is really deep. It'll hold a lot too. So that closes like that. And then because there's a magnet here, I chose to put a magnet right back here, so that when you slide this inside, the magnet will also catch. And when you stand this, I gotta quit doing that. When you stand this up, your album stays put inside, it won't fall out. Alright, that's my little project. I am really pleased with this. It turned out so pretty. And it was really fun to be able to use all my dies and things from my stash. I really had a good time. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to come be over there on August 21st and 22nd at Country Craft Creations and join in all the fun. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. See you soon. Bye. Okay, we are creating this little folio. The first piece that you will have will be 8 3/4 by 6 1/2, and you will score it at 4 1/4 and 4 3/4. Fold and burnish those lines and set it aside for a second. The second piece will be 8 1/4 by 6 1/2. Now you're going to think it looks more complicated, but really it isn't. So you're going to score at 1/2, 3 1/2, and 4. Then between these, you see I have an extra score line. I changed my mind where I wanted to put this, but it's okay because it's going to be covered by design paper. So you will burnish this 1/2 inch, and then this, oh, and I said scored at 3 1/2 and 4. You just need to score at 3 1/2. You don't need the 4. Sorry. You will burnish these 2 scores, and this is actually going to make a pocket. So between the 1/2 inch, with it folded under, you want to take a 1 inch circle punch and punch a notch here, and then turn it over 1 time to the left and kind of eyeball the center on this portion, and you're going to punch another little notch there. Okay, then we're going to lay it back on our scoreboard, and we're going to measure down to 3 1/4 and a 1/2 inch in from each side and punch a little hole, and I used my big crocodile for that. Then I'm going to take my knife and a ruler, and I'm going to cut a little slot from the top of the circle to the bottom of the circle. If I can get it straight, I am. I'm going to give it a shot anyway. I don't know how sharp this knife is. It's getting pretty old. But I'm going to line it up at the top of the circle, Just catching the edge of it. Let's see if that went through. Make sure it did. And then I'm going to turn it around so I can see it. And I'm going to go to the bottom of the circle. And I'm going to cut it again. Just one little point to insert tags here so we can have some from the top and some from the bottom. Okay. There we go. That just makes a little slot. So when we put this together, we will have a place here and a place here. Now you can glue this down here if you want to. I probably will. So the first thing you want to do to assemble this, get rid of my little scrap here, is lay this fold in your score pal or whatever scoring board you use, flush up to the end, and then take your second piece, slide it up under, and line up this edge, this folded edge, at 6 1/2. Get your edges straight. So I want the finished size to be 6 1/2. Then you're going to open it out. And I didn't trim this off. Let me take this edge off here. And this one. Just a little bit. Okay. And we're going to add glue to this. And we're going to close it down. It's really nothing hard to assemble this. It just takes a few minutes to get your cuts in. And we're going to close it down like this. And sneak in here at the bottom and add a little glue to close that up. Should have added it before, but I didn't. I always do things after the fact. Backwards. That's me. Okay, so there's that part. Now we're going to come over to the back, and this is going to make a pocket. But in order for it to have any depth to it, I want to add a spacer in here. So I'm going to just put a piece of cardstock up under there and mark it off. And I'm going to cut 2 1-inch strips at that length, or even just a little bit shorter. And put it over here. So I'm going to score it at 1/2 right on my cutting little Fiskars board. I'm going to score it 1/2. And cut it at 1. Here's one of them. And this should be about 1 inch. Let me see. It's close. So let's put it in 1/2. And score this one. I think it's a little bit crooked. But it's just a spacer, so it doesn't make any difference. Okay. So let's fold and burnish these. And we will apply glue, and we will add them right here. Sure they're not too long, and they are. I measured all the way to the other 1/2 inch, so I'm going to have to cut them just a hair. just inside that edge just a hair. And then angle cut it here. I don't think I'm short enough. Yes, I am, but I'm not straight. Alright. Okay, so let's trim this one while we're here before I glue it. Okay, so let's glue this one down. Oh, I opened that before you really don't need to glue that, as I now see, because once we have this on here, that'll take care of it. Okay, so now apply glue to these two. I could have taken it all the way to the bottom, done me. Put a little glue there, it'll be okay. Now we'll just close this down. Just like this, line up your edges. So there's that back pocket. Now we're going to go back to the front. And we're going to glue this shut. Got a little glue on that hinge. Okay, so this one is glued down. Now you've got a pocket here. And a pocket here. I'm going to leave mine open, but you can put glue here if you want to make a second pocket. That way I can have a long tag and a short tag. Okay, inside this front flap, we have a piece that is 6.5 by 4, and it is the full length. So you want to trim your corners so you don't have any overhang. Just a little bit off of each one. And we're going to apply our glue. And line it up right with your edge. Bless you. Just a hair shorter, but it's okay. And then the second piece is 5.5 by 5.5. And you're going to score it at 1/2 and 4. And this is going to fold under and attach here. So let's do that. You don't have to miter it because it's not the full length. Goodness. You got the sneezes this morning, buddy. And just kind of eyeball it. Center it from top to bottom. And then this will become a pocket, which we will, oops, it's not straight, not right on the edge, let me move it a hair. We don't want that to hang over. We will glue that down after we get our paper on it. So that stays there just like that. I'm going to put a paper clip on it to hold it in place. And then we're going to go to the back. And this is your 1/2 inch hinge there. And then we have 5 by 5.5, which is going to sit right here. Just kind of ballpark it. center as best you can. And it's just scored at 1/2 with the 5 at the top. That looks to here. It looks pretty good. Then we have this piece, which is 5.5 by 4, and it is going to, no, wrong piece. Yeah, that's the right piece. 5.5 by 4. Wait a minute, I might have the wrong piece. This goes on the front, 5.5 by 4, and it wraps over this edge, 5.5 by 4, and it is scored with the 5.5 at 1/2 and 3/4. Then we're just going to glue on the inside edge of this. And then we're going to get it in the center, sort of, and attach it to the back side. Now we want a magnet. I'll put my magnets. And I want it down in the middle and up under a ways. Like I'm close to the edge. And a positive. And we're going to make sure your edge stands up straight here. And just lay this down and press it into place. So that holds that. Okay, now to the back again. We need something to hold this in place, so we have three and 3/4 by 4 and 3/4, and it is going to attach right here. I'm all about eyeballing these things, you know. Take it close to the edge, but not over, because you don't want to have all those exposed edges showing. It looks kind of tacky. Make sure that's down good. Now this piece is going to attach under here, but we're going to put our design paper on it first, and then we'll have, that way this will act as a belly band. But I don't want it to be that wide. Let me see. I have it at 5.5. Right now it's at 3. I'm going to cut it down to 2. Okay, 5.5 by 2. And it will actually attach here. And that's better. There will be a magnet under there, and this will be your closure for the back. But I want this to be a belly band underneath, so I need to put my paper down on the back side first. So let me put a paper clip there so I don't forget where it goes, because I'm known to forget what I'm doing. Okay, that's your folio base. Cute, huh? It's really cute. Okay, I'm going to cut some design paper and I will be back with you shortly. And once we have covered this with our paper, then we'll make the little pocket it's going to sit in. Okay guys, I am back real quick. I just wanted to show you the matting on mine. You may want to make it like mine. You might have something totally different in mine, which is fine as well. But I just thought I would show you. I double matted all of mine in white cardstock just to kind of bring it away from the back, add a little more dimension to it. I have one of the cut aparts here and a piece of the design paper. Now this piece does have a magnet right here, and it opens this way. I'm considering putting a photo mat over here with an embellishment. That's why that's there, but I haven't decided for sure. And then I added a little pocket to this panel, and I just used the white cardstock and a piece of scrap, and I used this little mini envelope punch board to do that. Then when you open it up, we had this flap, if you remember. We put this together. We did this together is what I mean to say. There's a pocket here. This opens this way, and I made 2 photo mats there and a large one here. Got glue or something on there. There it goes. And then it opens out again. And I have 2 of the small cut aparts from the 6x6 pad, a strip of the design paper, a photo mat, and a photo mat here. This is fixed down, and I don't have any journaling spots cut out, but what I want to put in here is a little journaling spot and a piece of ephemera. Then this center section has a little pocket. I just put a faux pocket in there on a piece of white cardstock, and these are just tentative in there. I haven't matted these little cut aparts or anything, but that will hold some smaller items. And then we have this bookmark here, and I don't know as I have any. Well, here's a scrap I can stick down in there. This top one goes all the way to the bottom, and then you have this shorter one here, and I just put a scrap of paper behind that cutout just to it kind of perked it up a little bit. It looked kind of naked with the red showing through. So that closes up, and then you turn it over and you have one of the cut aparts here with Santa. Now this also has a magnet. There's only 2 in this whole project. This becomes a belly band, but I got kind of zealous with my glue, so it's a narrow. It doesn't go all the way to the edge, but you can get probably a 2.5–3 inch embellishment or a tag in there. And then this one lifts up, and I'll definitely do something with that to break up that paper, but I just haven't decided what. But you'll see the finished product on the walkthrough. There's a large photo mat here, 2 smaller ones here, and then you have this large pocket in here. And that's it. So I hope you will give this one a go and share pictures with me and show me what you've made. Okay, I will be back shortly with the little pouch that's going to hold this, and there will be a final walkthrough once I've put all my ephemera and embellishments on it. Alright, thanks for watching. See you soon. Alright guys, we're going to make this little cover for our folio, and you will have actually 2 pieces of cardstock to make this. You'll cut 2 pieces 7 by 12, and then you'll cut one off at 7.5. So I have the 7.5 by 7 here, and find my scoring tool. We're going to score it at 1/2 inch, and we're not going to cut the other one off yet, not until we have the basics put together, because I will show you why. Depending on how your album turns out, everybody doesn't make them exactly to the same dimensions. So the back section I will cut to length after I make sure my album fits in it. I already know mine does because I have my album made first. So I would suggest that you make your album first, just to make sure everything is going to line up and fit. So let me put this back, and we will burnish these folds like my other one. Where's my other one? I don't know. I get so much stuff out I forgot what I've got out. So this is going to be the back. and this shorter one will be the front. And the front piece is going to overlap the back, so we can trim just a hair off of these, just from the fold in, so we don't have any overhang. Just a little bit, doesn't take much. And then we're going to lay these out and put glue on the inside edge of your 1/2 inch. This will all make sense after we do it. And there's no chipboard in the folio or in this wrap. So we're going to put this score line just a hair away from that piece. If I can see the edge. And make sure I've got it right. I can do it better this way. Make sure I stay away from that fold. There we go, just like that. That was easier that way. Okay, so this is going to be the base of your cover. So we're going to set that aside, and then when you cut these at 7, you'll have 2 long strips. Take one of those strips and cut it down to 2 5/8. I think I did. Yes, 2 5/8 by 8 3/4. Then you're going to score all 4 sides at 1 inch. And we will burnish all of those. And I have just tapered my edges so that we can make a little box out of this. Now you can wrap yours however you like. I like to wrap the tabs around to the outside instead of the inside so that I have a smooth finished edge, but if you like it on the inside, that's okay too. It really doesn't matter unless it matters to you. So here's what we have. This little box is going to sit right inside here, just like that. Okay, make sure. Yep, just like that. So we're going to fold this end up and these 2 ends. We're going to have to trim some of this off. It's a little bit too long. Okay, so let's put some glue on these little tabs. And I got my clothespins at the ready. You have to have clothespins when you're making a box. So square this up really nice. Wrap it around, because you want your little album to sit in there pretty snug. And we'll go around to the other side, trim those tabs off. And add some glue to them. Square up your edges, bring them all together, and stick a clothespin on it. Okay, that's the basis of your little insert. I'm going to let it sit just a second. Now we're going to add some glue to the bottom of this. And be generous with your glue because you want it to stay where you put it. Don't want it moving around. it's going to be just, let me take these off, just a hair shorter than your cover. Turn it this way so I can see what I'm doing. Just a hair shorter. Maybe 1/8 of an inch shorter on each side. That looks good. Make sure it's in the score lines. And even if it's over on the back side, that's okay. It's not going to matter because the back is going to be glued down. So what you want to do next, once you've got it in there nice and firm, let's take this mat off of here. We're going to put it back in the scoreboard and bring it right up to your edge. Make sure it's nice and square. And we're going to lay down the box, the edge of the box. Whoops. It's kind of hard to hold on to all these pieces. Okay, get your scoring tool and go just above where the box sits and make a score line. Oops. Don't slide on me, turkey. Okay. Now we can put this back. Now we can fold this on our score line. Make sure your edges match up, because when this closes you want it to be right. Just like that. And then burnish it real good. Okay. And this is going to fold back open like this, but we will glue it down. Now we're going to add some glue to this side of the box. And we're going to close it down. Just like that. Make sure it's nice and straight. Just like that. Oops. I'm just going to put my hand in here and press it down. I'm going to put a little bit more glue on these corners. And put a clothespin in here until it gets good and dry. Okay, I'm going to let that set up just a few minutes and then I'll be right back. Alright guys, I went ahead and glued down the front part as well so that we could move on to the next step. So I'm going to take all my clothespins off, because the front is glued down just like the back from the fold line. So that way when you open it, you'll have this little binding here, and you can put that in a different paper. I think would be really cute. Opens like this, so then you have this whole area and you'll have this. Next thing is the little folio I already have created. You've seen this. It is going to sit in this pocket just like this, and you want to kind of center it from the top to the bottom. Now the way we're going to anchor it is, remember we have a magnet in this little, behind this tab here, so I'm adding one here, and I'm going to pull the paper off. Well, if my pitiful nails will get a hold of it. Oh, goodness sakes, I can't get it to move. There we go. Okay, so position it how you want it so it's centered from front to back, or from top to bottom actually. And push it all the way back in, and then set her down and give it a good press so that you leave that magnet in place. Let's hope it worked. There it is. So then we'll add our paper, our design paper in here, and our album will stay where we put it. See, it's not going to fall out. And when you pick up your album, it's not going to fall out, it'll stay in there. Isn't that cool? Okay, so the next thing you want to do is measure this front. And this is the reason I left it to the last, because if your album happens to be a little bit longer than mine, whatever the case might be, you want to make sure you've got ample for your wrap. So here is where my album sits, right at 6.5. But this kind of sticks out a little bit, this nubbin here. So I want it to be about a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to put my ruler here at a 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to find the corresponding score mark, which is, I think it's going to be, I'm going to go to a 7 1/8, just to make sure I've got enough of an overhang, because if you have any embellishments or anything that sticks out, then you've got plenty of room. Now if you want it, excuse me, if you want it shorter, you can definitely make it shorter. I'm thinking I should stay with 7, so I'm going to ignore that first score line, and I'm going to burnish it on 7. And then I'm going to go to 7 5/8, because remember, this is 5/8. So we're going to score it there, and then on my prototype, which is just some generic white cardstock, I left 2.5 inches for the wrap. So let's go to 2.5 inches. Get all this junk out of my way. 2.5 inches from there is at 10 1/8. Yeah, 10 1/8. So I'm going to put a little tick mark right there, just a little tiny mark. And that's where I'm going to cut it off. So let me cut it real quick. Oops. Take my album out. So I'll put it in my cutter where I made that tick mark. Make sure I'm right on it. And my corner rounder I need. And I've just got a cheapy corner rounder, but they do a good job. Oh, come on. Probably need to clean it out. So I'm going to round these two corners. Okay. So now let me get my mat back up here, so I got something to burnish against instead of those grooves. Okay, let's score on that first one, on that 7 inch. Match up your edges here. Just press that one out that I decided not to use. And then we'll burnish on this one. Make sure your edges are right. Okay. So let's put our album back in it. And there you are. That's your wrap. Now you can tie it with ribbon, or you can punch holes. You can either do a ribbon wrap, you can punch a couple of holes, or you can use magnets. If I use a magnet, I would use two, because if you use one, then it can twist, you know. And I would use two to make sure it stays squared up. But that's totally up to you, however you want to close yours. I will go ahead and cut some design paper, and I will be back and share with you the final process. Alright, thanks. Talk to you soon.